Zarude, probably one of the worst mythical Pokemon in competitive play, mainly because it has a lot of factors going against it. But with the end of Regulation J nearly approaching, we're going to be trying out and see how well it can perform, and maybe we can get to the Masterball tier in this brand new Stadium Ladder season. This is a Zarude Sun team we're going to be trying out and see if it can be able to climb into the Masterball tier starting from Great Ball 9. Let's break it down. First, this is a Zarude that I designed with the metal plate with the leaf guard as the ability, which is the only ability Zarude gets, and it prevents it from getting status while the sun is up. I guess it can be useful for like Spore or in Sleep Powder from grass types if you do go for Terrestrialization, as well as like Random Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave, but they're not like too common, so it's not like that great of an ability in this format. The metal plate for the Grassy Glide, as I already have Clear Amulet on the Groudon, as well as I have Life Orb on the Raging Bolt, so metal plate is going to be the next choice, and this is going to be for double priority to ensure maybe a potential knockout on some of the bulkier Pokemon like Fluttermane, like Urshifu, and more. So this Zarude set knockoff for the dark type coverage, get rid of items, Grassy Glide for the priority, the Source Dance to set up and protect. Now Zarude does get some interesting options, but it really doesn't get the best move pool. Like, it really doesn't have the greatest sets. And also one of the biggest things is, as a dark grass type, even though it has really good defenses, it's not really the best at taking attacks because it has one of the worst defensive typings in the game. Dark grass is just weak to so many different types. That's not amazing. And yeah, it's really a shame because also like its signature move is a support move, which is jungle healing, which is basically life dew. It heals you and your ally by 25%, as well as has the additional bonus of being able to cure status conditions. But otherwise, like, it's not really a great support Pokemon because of its really bad defensive typing, where Brute Bonnet could at least, you know, give some support, has access to the Photosynthesis, which is a better ability in general to increase its stats, as well as access to Spore and Rage Powder. Zarude doesn't get any really good support moves. No ways of like Spore, Sleep Powder, Rage Powder, not even Fake Out. So yeah, it's just really strange because its support move pool is not that great. So we're going to be trying out a more offensive set because it's really hard to use jungle healing, I think, in this format. EV spread wise, it is just to outspeed Animate Urshifu, which is actually kind of important in the rain matchup. And then just has some HP so I can get some extra grassy terrain recovery, as well as like take advantage of its natural bulk, because you're going to be taking a lot of super effective moves because of the Zarude naturally just being weak to a bunch of different types. So, and has an extra stat point with the Adamant Nature and 156 attack. So it will still be doing good damage initially, especially with that metal plate with the Grassy Glide. But after a Sword Stance, it will really be able to do a ton of damage, especially with the extra priority on top. We'll see if it works. But this is going to be my first time trying out Zarude, and this is the best way I felt like I could figure out to make it actually be usable in a offensive setting, I suppose, because I don't think the support Zarude is that great. So next Pokemon we have is a standard Assault Vest Rillaboom with the Grassy Surge to summon the grassy terrain and make Grassy Glide priority, makes the grass type moves also stronger and provides some healing to the Pokemon on the ground. Wood Hammer is pretty powerful. Grassy Glide for the priority, Fake Out for the support, as well as a U-turn to be able to pivot. You have Water Terrestrialization over Fire Terrestrialization because I already have Fire Terrestrialization on Groudon, and the team does struggle against Kyogre plus the Calyx Ice Rider. Being able to switch in those Pokemon are pretty devastating, so we're going to be running the Water Terrestrialization instead of Fire as a good defensive typing. EV spread wise, this allows you to live a Choice Specs Helping Hand Draco Meteor from Rhydon, assuming grassy terrain is up over the electric terrain, and does allow you to pretty much live a +2 Astral Barrage from a Calyrex Shadow Rider, which is pretty nice to have while still being able to do a good amount of damage. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Clear Amulet Groudon with the Drought ability to summon the sun. The Clear Amulet prevents it from taking any stat drops from the opposing side with the Fire Terror type, which is useful to power up the Heat Crash, as well as make Groudon resistant to grass and ice type moves that would be naturally super effective against it. Pretty much standard coverage. Precipice Blades, a really strong ground type spread move. High horsepower for the single target one to play around Wide Guard. Heat Crash, which is just really powerful because Groudon's a very heavy Pokemon. And Protect, of course, to keep itself around. EV spread wise, this is a pretty bulky Groudon. It's going to be max HP invested, has enough speed to outspeed max speed Incineroar, so you can go for Precipice Blaze before they can go for like a fast Parting Shot, Knockoff, or Flare Blitz. Still has a really good amount of special defense, and the attack adamant with 36 gives you an extra stat point and allows Groudon to really dish out a ton of damage. So that's the idea behind this Groudon, just putting on a pretty good amount of offensive pressure and setting up the Sun for potential Zarude. I was debating between either Groudon or Koraidon when designing this team, and I decided to go Groudon because both Koraidon and Zarude absolutely hate, and I mean hate, really strong fairy type moves. So I think that having Groudon is probably more ideal, especially because it does help with Miraidon too. So I have pretty good answers with the grassy terrain as well as the ground type into Miraidon, which is fantastic. Next Pokemon we're gonna have Simple Focus Sash Fluttermane. Photosynthesis, give me a speed booster while in the sun with the Fairy Terra type to power up the Moonblast even further, with Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Icy Wind for the speed control and protect. It's a pretty standard Fluttermane, not much to say about it. Max special attack, max speed. This Fluttermane is just supposed to be able to help out with the Icy Wind speed control, a fast offensive hitter, which is pretty nice because I have an initial fast mode with the Fluttermane Chi-Yu alongside multiple priority moves to play around, like Priority Tailwind, Weather Wars, as well as Trick Room. So I think this allows for some pretty good offensive pressure, especially into Shadow Rider, which is pretty nice, as well as a Pokemon that can switch into fighting moves as well. Paired with the Fluttermane is going to be the Chi-Yu with the Choice Scarf to allow it to go fast, with the Beads of Ruin that lowers the special defense of all Pokemon on the field besides the Chi-Yu, as well as the Ghost Terra type that is to help out against Fake Out and Extreme Speed, with Heat Wave, Dark Pulse, Overheat, and Snarl. Pretty standard Chi-Yu set, but I think it's pretty important because I think the team can struggle with like the Zamazenta Calyx Shadow Rider core, and I do think that's a pretty important one to be able to manage. Being able to direct in the Zamazenta is especially important because my initial mons don't exactly have the best damage output into it. So that's why I decided to go with a more offensive Chi-Yu than like a defensive Incineroar that could be used to like cycle Fake Out and support the Zarude even further. I think the team needs a bit more offense with the ability to actually break through stuff like Zamazenta, like with a really strong hit. So that's the idea of running Choice Scarf Chi-Yu on this team. Just a standard one, very offensive, getting the Calyx Shadow Rider plus the Zamazenta core is also just pretty good in general. Can threaten Cali Ice as well for some really heavy damage. And it's a pretty standard Scarf Chi-Yu. It's just max special attack and max speed with a modest nature. Allows it to be able to outspeed the Shadow Rider, which is a pretty big deal. Final Pokemon on this team is going to be the Life Orb Raging Bolt with the Photosynthesis that gives it a special attack booster in the sun, with the Electric Terra type to power up its electric moves even further, with Thunderbolt, Draco Meteor, Thunderclap, and Protect. So the idea behind Raging Bolt, I wasn't a huge fan of bringing Raging Bolt on this team because if you notice by my first 3 Pokemon, I already had 3 ice weaknesses, and then Raging Bolt adds another one. So this team can be really weak to ice if you don't play really aggressively against Cali Ice. But the thing is, if I didn't have Raging Bolt, there are very few Pokemon that really deal with like the combination of like Rain Dance Tornadus plus the Urshifu or Kyogre. So threatening the Bleak Wind Storm combination, like none of my Pokemon can currently switch into Bleak Wind, and Chi-Yu is not helping exactly because the Beads of Ruin is powering up that Bleak Wind Storm against my team. So yeah, I needed a mod that could really be able to break through the Rain Dance Tornadus combination with Water type, and Raging Bolt's pretty much one of the few Pokemon, especially because the Rillaboom is going to be running the Assault Vest on this team. So having a way that can actually threaten the Tornadus immediately is pretty important. So that's why we're going with a more offensive Raging Bolt that is still able to do a ton of damage. Also complements with the Beads of Ruin with that Life Orb, Photosynthesis with the Beads of Ruin, really able to break through and having like multiple priorities. So Grassy Glide plus another move can really be able to punish Pokemon. So it's a pretty good addition to the team, even though again, 4 ice weeks, but a lot of the plan usually is to try and bring Chi-Yu, and then as well as like maybe go for Terra Fire with the Groudon, and hopefully you'll be able to control the Cali Ice. But the EV spread here, it is a pretty much just max special attack Raging Bolt to really take advantage of that Thunderclap with the Photosynthesis, Life Orb, and all the stacks. Then the HP is 209. This gives you a bit of extra grassy terrain recovery because 208 will give you the extra stat jump point for getting the extra 1 point from the recovery for grassy terrain HP recovery. And then, you know, just have an odd number in case of like ruination stuff. That's very likely. And then the rest remaining going to speed. I didn't think you really needed max speed on Raging Bolt on this team because you do have some pretty fast mons with, of course, the fast Fluttermane, as well as this Choice Scarf Chi-Yu, and you also have Groudon to take care of like opposing Raging Bolts. So I felt like otherwise, like still having a lot of speed, being able to outspeed stuff like fast Incineroars pretty much that aren't max speed, some of the Rillabooms so you can threaten them with a very powerful Draco Meteor, I think is pretty nice to have. So how to use the team? Well, a lot of it is, of course, focusing on the sun mode. You do have pretty strong Pokemon that can take advantage of the sunlight. Groudon, Fluttermane, Chi-Yu, and Raging Bolt, of course, all benefit from the sun. Zarude technically does, though I don't think it's very likely it will be able to showcase with Leaf Guard, but maybe in there's some positions there will be. There are a lot of Pokemon that like Terastallization, especially the Groudon and the Zarude, so you do have to be careful about your Terastallization. But across the board, you do have some pretty good offense, and you do have setup as well. Zarude plus Rillaboom, of course, you do have access to double Grassy Glide right away. You also have access to Sword Stance. You also can be very unpredictable with the Zarude, and they might not expect the Grassy Glide, which could be a big mistake if they don't prepare for it. You also have, of course, the Groudon Fluttermane combination or the Fluttermane Chi-Yu combination for really strong damage output. Of course, Groudon setting up the Sun for the Photosynthesis speed booster on the Fluttermane. Icy Wind, Precipice Blaze, or Icy Wind Heat Crash, of course, is really powerful. And Groudon plus Chi-Yu can lead immediately for the extra firepower with the Sun, the Beads of Ruin, that Heat Wave or Overheat. It's really dishing out a ton of damage. Same thing with the Groudon plus Raging Bolt combination. That really strong Photosynthesis life for boosted attack from the Raging Bolt can absolutely wreck teams. Same thing with Chi-Yu plus the Raging Bolt, which is also a good one. Even Fluttermane Raging Bolt, because Fluttermane is just a really good lead with its Focus Sash. You could lead stuff like Fluttermane plus Rillaboom immediately, or you could lead Rillaboom just with anything for Fake Out support. Zarude is also like a decent lead because you can just set up a Sword Stance potentially, and if your opponent's trying to guess on like what the Zarude set is, they might get caught off guard, which is a pretty nice ideal. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the team just because of like how strong Sun can be, and of course you do have some pretty good tools both offensively and supportively. So we're gonna see how well this team can perform, and let me know in the comments down below what you think about Zarude, because there are so many grass and dark types that they just introduced this gen with Brute Bonnet as well as Meowscarada. Like they're all better designed than Zarude. I do think Zarude is one of the worst like competitively designed toolkits Mythical out there. I don't really care about its actual design, but let me know what you think about it in general. So let me know in the comments down below, and let's get started and play some games. All right, we have Kyogre, Zacian, Whimsicott. That is Great Tusk, Male Entity, and Sableye. Why do you have Psychic Terrain with two potential Prankster Mons is a good question. Rain versus Sun, and the Psychic Terrain is actually kind of annoying because I do have Grassy Terrain spam. Although I'm not sure how effective it is. And Zacian, it's not an easy Pokemon to deal with, but it is doable, I suppose. Okay. I would probably just want to lead. I want to bring Raging Bolt in this game as a question. I feel like well, Groudon is definitely being brought, and it's definitely being brought in the back for the Weather War. I definitely bring Rillaboom, and I think Rillaboom is kept in the back too. So the question is, what is my lead here? Because I want terrain control and I want the ability to punish with Groudon. So I'm thinking potentially like Chi-Yu is probably pretty decent here. I could also lead Fluttermane, which is not a bad mon either. I kind of like Chi-Yu Zarude. Chi-Yu Zarude doesn't seem too bad as a lead. Flutter is just really nice in general, but I think I'm going to do Chi-Yu Zarude with Rillaboom Groudon back. I am a little bit weak to Great Tusk, ironically, which is not a mon I would say I would probably be weak to. But yeah, the fact that it does actually a lot of damage to my team and fighting coverage is actually pretty good here. So Fluttermane might have been better for the Focus Sash and the ability to protect, but I think I need something that threatens the Zacian that isn't just a Groudon, because otherwise I am bringing two grass types. Entity Sableye lead. What is this? Okay. I have two dark types against an Entity, so I don't even know if I want to bring the switch. Let's see what they decide to go for. Well, let's see whose ability activates, because unless it's Timid Scarf Entity, my Chi-Yu should be fine here. Beats of Ruin activates first, which makes sense. Gonna be the Psychic Terrain going up. Okay. And Psychic Seed. Huh. Okay. I think my best play is just to click Snarl here. And I kind of just want to set up a Sword Stance with the Zarude so I can Grassy Glide and Grassy Terrain afterward. Because these Pokemon don't seem like offensive threats. Foul Play would do a decent amount of damage, but otherwise, I should be pretty safe from the Entity. It doesn't seem like it's an offensive one with Psychic Seed. And I do like setting up the Swords Dance for the Grassy Glide pressure. So I am going to set up a Swords Dance and just go for the Snarl. Skill swap onto the male entity, trying to catch my Rillaboom on the switch, I suppose. Wait, they go for Snarl. What? Wait, what? I land the Snarl. That's a lot less than I thought to the male entity. I guess that's because of the special defense boost, but still, okay. It is eject button Sableye, which is not like too surprising. All right. Guessing they're going to bring in their Zacian, and then this is going to be a bit of a threat here. I'll probably go for Taro. Oh, they go Kyogre, actually. Okay. Huh. That's fine. As I do get a Swords Dance up. I could have knocked off the Kyogre as well, but I think this isn't a bad play here. And now I have a few options. I don't know if this is Scarf Kyogre, and if it's Timid Scarf, which a lot of them do run Timid Scarf. If they're like max speed, they could outspeed my Chi-Yu. So I could go Groudon, or I could go Rillaboom. I prefer going Rillaboom here and going for the Grassy Glide threat into the Kyogre. Is this Baton Pass entity? I'm not 100% sure, but the entity other than Baton Pass can't really be a threat here. I like the idea of getting the Rillaboom and threatening the Grassy Glide into the Kyogre. It weakens the power of Water Spout, even if they go for a Terastization that's defensive. So let's see what they decide to go for here. As we do see a Terastization, so that should be a Grass Terra on Kyogre, or some defensive Terra. Kyogre does go for the Terra, and it is going to be the Terra Water. I don't think Terra Water was the play, but okay. Maybe they were Scarf and they thought they could go for like Terra Water Water Spout, but that is not how it works. As Grassy Glide blows up the Kyogre. Goodbye, Kyogre. I am happy to have seen you. And now, not so sure. They go for After You, but I think Entity was slower than my Chi-Yu at least. I don't know what that play was, but all right. Substitute After You with Psychic Seed. I don't know why, but okay. We're going to see Zacian. It's actually funny because I think my opponent is in Ultra Ball tier as starting off in Great Ball, because when you start off the new season, you used to get placed at Great Ball 9. All right. Zacian comes in. I do want to fake out the Zacian. And if I Swords Dance again, all I really need is a Groudon Chi-Yu out. I could go hard into Chi-Yu to then threaten the Heat Wave. But Rillaboom has kind of done its job, where I think probably just either Grassy Glide the... just Grassy Glide the entity, get rid of the sub. Oh, they're just gonna forfeit. Yeah, it like looked pretty bad. I think they need like multiple misses with the Zacian, with my Chi-Yu and my Groudon back, because like they lost their Kyogre, they lost a lot of damage output into Terrifier Groudon plus Scarf Chi-Yu back. It just like looked really hopeless, and I was just trying to figure out, okay, what's the best I can do? And I think like, okay, do I need to Swords Dance? It's like, no, I'm probably just going to protect Zarude the next turn, attempt a U-turn with my Rillaboom, and getting my Chi-Yu to then switch out to Zarude anyway to go for a Groudon and Heat Wave. So like, is there a point of me going for like another Swords Dance? No, it's just better to break the sub, I guess, in that case. Maybe I should have just hard went into Chi-Yu. Looking back at it, I was a little bit worried if they set up Trick Room, but even if they do go for a Trick Room, like, it's probably fine, right? So because I could have just like U-turned, go out on a Groudon, and yeah, like it just seemed pretty poor. So Zarude on the board, which is at least something it was able to do in this game, I suppose. All right, we have Calyx, Ice Rider, Magearna, Entity female with the Hatterene, Annihilate, and Urshifu. So this is going to be a scary team to deal with because I have a bunch of Ice Weeks and not really any resist. Okay. So what do I want to go here lead wise? Am I doing Groudon stuff? Probably. I do want to bring Groudon. I do want to bring... The question is, I don't know who I'm partnering Groudon with. Because I could do... I don't know if I'm leading Chi-Yu Groudon, because here's the thing. If they lead Annihilate, then my best lead is probably to go with Groudon plus Chi-Yu. But if they decide, hey, I'm going to lead Entity plus Cali Ice, or like if I lead Chi-Yu and they lead Annihilate, I get threat to my close combat, and I don't really feel like I can Terra Ghost because I think I need a Terra to stall out Trick Room. It's just a really rough matchup, I think. I think I'm going to do Groudon plus Zarude because I think I want to lead the Pokemon that have Protect and then have Chi-Rilla in the back. This is going to be a really scary matchup. I really don't like my Cali Ice matchup. Like, it's fine on like a general Cali Ice team, but the hard Trick Room Cali Ice is definitely rough. So let's see if Groudon can put in work because that's the mon I really need to carry. But I need to figure out how to navigate this. Okay, they did lead Annihilate. All right. So I do lead Zarude plus Groudon. So this isn't like a terrible lead, although it's not like amazing here. Here's the thing. If I let Chi-Yu, I could have went for like Terra Ghost Heat Wave. But if they final gambited the Groudon, it was like a weird situation regardless. And it's still a really weird situation even now. I'm just going to go for a double protect. Yeah, I'm just going to go for a double protect, I think. Because if they final gambit or U-turn, at least they'll probably attempt to trick room this turn. And then that means I probably can go for a Precipice Blade the next turn. They go for a Terrassization, go for the Terra Water, which is actually good for my Zarude and Rillaboom combination. So that's nice. I also don't have to worry about defensive Terra from Cali Ice. So that's massive. So I assume that this is like final gambit or U-turn into Zarude and something with the ape. Did they go for final gambit? They did target the Groudon. Okay, perfect. And Trick Room goes up. All right. My best play is just to Terra to Groudon and probably Heat Crash the Annihilate for as much damage as I possibly can get. Because if I miss Precipice Blades into Annihilate and they finally get my Groudon, I just instant lose. And I think the best place to go Rillaboom. So I have Fake Out Pressure the next turn. I think that's correct. Yeah, because I can't let Zarude go down to Flare Cannon. I would live Dazzling Gleam, but I'm worried about Flare Cannon, and Groudon should be super safe here. So let's see if I'm right on this, because Heat Crash should do a ton of damage to the Annihilate. My plan was to always Terrasilize the Groudon, deal with the Cali Ice, and making sure Glacial Lance didn't sweep my team here, so should be fine, but we'll find out, because the Cali Ice is still going to be a difficult part here to maneuver. They go for Dazzling Gleam. Okay, so I could have just went for a Grassy Glide, which would have been better, but all right. Life Orb Magearna, which is interesting, and Heat Crash going to come out into the Annihilate, which almost picks up the KO, but I mean, Final Gambit does nothing, so this is still a pretty acceptable situation. So Final Gambit will KO the Ape, but that's a pretty good turn for me, I'd say. 2 turns to trick him down, 3 more to go. They do get a special attack boost, but right now the Magearna's not like threatening the most amount of damage here. If they want to go Cali Ice, I have Fake Out Pressure, but of course they could have Entity back, which is a little bit concerning, so I might have to go out and Chi-Yu. They do go into Cali Ice here. Glacial Lance is going to hurt, but not much I can do here. I think my play is to always go for... I think we always just go for a Precipice Blades, because we want Magearna in range of attacks, and I think I have to go Chi-Yu. I think like if they go out into Entity, they might go out of Entity here, which is my concern for the Psychic Terrain, because like the safe play I technically do have is Fake Out right into Cali Ice, but the problem is they could go out into the Entity to block Fake Out. So I think I'm gonna go Chi-Yu and Precipice Blades. Yeah. They didn't switch, so they might not have Entity in the back then. If they don't have Entity in the back, if I lose to the... I might lose to a double up on Groudon if they went for like a high horsepower plus a really powerful attack. Okay. Okay, they protect. Okay. So that also works because they don't go for high horsepower. They go for Flash Cannon and Chi-Yu, so that's actually really nice because I don't take the damage. Okay. And I get a big Precipice Blades off. Is it worth saving Chi-Yu? Oh, that's a bad miss in the Magearna. That's a bad miss in the Magearna, man. Okay. I'd probably go for Dazzling Gleam plus high horsepower. Unless they Glacial Lance a Chi-Yu, but they might because Dazzling Gleam might not KO the Chi-Yu. That was a bad miss. Okay. I think I just gotta protect Groudon here and go for a Heat Wave. Yeah, just get damage off. I'll sack Chi-Yu to bring in Rillaboom, and then we'll play the mind game with the Entity, which is fine, I suppose. It's not the best situation, but it's not the worst. They did go for high horsepower. Okay. This is probably, well, I guess +1 Dazzling Gleam should KO Chi-Yu, right? So I should have maybe went Rillaboom here, but I don't think I need Chi-Yu to win the game, so this should be fine still. Okay. I really wish I had the Precipice Blades earlier because the Magearna would have been in Grassy Glide range, but that's fine. All right. Because if they have Entity back, this is not the best situation. I guess I could go Zarude here. Because they don't know my item. I could go into Rillaboom as well. I'm just worried about the Entity switch and Glacial Lance. Like, do I have a counterplay to that if that happens? I think I need to go Zarude. And then I think I have to make a play here. Ah, that Blades miss is rough. Because if I went Rillaboom, I'm worried about the Entity swap, a Glacial Lance, and then it's Zarude plus Groudon versus Entity plus Cali Ice. And I'm pretty sure Cali Ice would be healthy enough to set up another Trick Room. Because this is why I don't think it was great here of a position. I think I could probably go for Heat Crash and Protect now. Okay, they attacked here. No Entity switch, but that makes sense. A high horsepower. I think I should live a +2 Dazzling Gleam, even with Life Orb. I really need to if I want to have a chance. And then I gotta hope Heat Crash is doing enough with like Precipice Blaze to do a bit of damage. Okay. You do survive. That's massive. Can't miss the Heat Crash, thankfully. Decent damage into the Calyrex. Unfades. I do dread to knock off. The thing that's unfortunate too. Actually, maybe I should just Precipice Blades because they didn't have Entity in. That's also true. Because now both Pokemon are threatening attacks. Oh, this might be really bad. I think I should Precipice Blades again, actually, now that I look back. I thought Heat Crash was going to do a little bit more. But now I think I might be screwed here. I think I'm just going to go for Precipice Blades knockoff and hope that the Magearna is just super scared in this position. But they attack, and I didn't get the KO with knockoff, so I don't get single target Blades off. But if they attempt to Trick Room, this isn't awful. And I do hit Blades. Okay, wait, maybe we're in this. Did they Gleam or did they Trick Room? If they Gleamed, it might be over. But if they Trick Room, I might have a chance. Under Soul Art Boost. They went for Gleam. Okay. Depends on the back then. If it's Ursh, maybe I can win. But this is not looking good. If I hit that one Blades earlier, it would have been great. But of course, that is the consequence of using Precipice Blades. Also, if I had a better Grass move, I guess, on Zarude, it might have been better. Did they have Entity back, or have I been played like a fiddle? Is that an expression? I think it is. Better make sure. I better look it up to make sure that it's not like some bad word. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Rillaboom? I should have went for Blades. Oh, wait, it is Ursh. Hold it. Wait. Oh, it's Dark Ursh. Okay, no, we lose. So they didn't have Entity. I think if we had the Blades earlier, we would have been a really good chance. I think game over regardless. They should just attack with both. Yeah. So Grassy Glide gonna KO the Magearna, I suppose, but it is not gonna be enough to, because Urshifu should be choice banned on this team. I imagine it should KO me. Actually, I don't even know if I'm using the right phrase. Okay, yeah, close combat. That should be choice band damage. Goodbye, Rillaboom, and unfortunate Groudon. Every time I use this mon, man. Every time I use this mon. But I should have went for two Blades. I should have went for Blades earlier, because I think Blades would have probably done almost as much damage to the Kali Ice as the Heat Crash. So, like, in retrospect, Heat Crash was just never to play. I should have just always kept clicking Blades. And I had multiple chances, I guess, to hit the Blades. So, yeah. Should have went for Blades, because if I went for Blades, it looked like Magearna was in range of another one, so I did have to hit a few Blades, but of course that's always when using Groudon. All right, we have Sliverwing, Lunala, Groudon, Meowscarada, Whimsicott, and the Entity. Okay. Zarude could be either really good or really bad. I have no idea which one it will be. So this is going to be an interesting game. I do really like Chiyu. I have no idea if Chiyu lives a first impression from Sliverwing with booster attack. So that will be interesting to note. I think we always go with... Flutter is also pretty good here offensively, damage wise. There's a lot I could bring. I think I like Chiyu the most. The only problem is Chiyu doesn't lead well into is like Lunala or Groudon with Whimsicott. If there's a Whimsicott lead, Chiyu should be left in the back. But I don't think it's too bad. I think I'll lead Chiyu Zarude with Rillaboom Groudon, I suppose. Raging Bolt's not necessary in this matchup. It's not great against the Groudon, and Flutter Mane's decent, but it's not like the best. Yeah. So let's find out if Sliverwing will come out. But the thing is about Sliverwing is I don't think it's that big of a threat immediately. I guess like any Tailwind lead from Whimsicott. I just don't know if they're going to try us up Tailwind, but they do lead Groudon and Whimsicott. Okay, so not the ideal lead. That's acceptable. Kind of curious on what the Groudon set is. Oh, I also have to... Yeah, this is not going to be easy. Because I realized they also have Entity, and they have back Entity. I might be cooked. I think we always go Rilla here for the Chiyu, and we just click Protect. Or do I want to play super aggressive right off the bat, say, hey, you're not going to Heat Crash, you're going to threaten the Chiyu, which is the biggest damage output, and go for knockoff into Groudon. I think it might be worth going for the knockoff into Groudon. I'm just going to attempt it. I think the bigger threat is to Chiyu and they just go for passive plays, but we'll find out. Bring out Rillaboom. This could be like an awful turn one decision, but I'm willing to risk it here. Because this is probably a pretty bad matchup. Okay, they protect, so this actually works out pretty well for me. As they go for Tailwind, okay. And knockoff gonna go out into the Groudon. Okay. Not a bad turn. I'm gonna scout if they have the Entity because I'm gonna go Rillaboom. I'm gonna go Groudon for the Rillaboom slot to absorb a potential Heat Crash and protect the Zarude. Ooh, they swap out the Groudon, which is interesting on how they're playing this. Okay. Lunala coming in. Interesting. On a knockoff? Because I would have went for... Well, I guess they think I'm going for grass moves committed, I guess, but... not expected Lunala to be brought out. Okay, protect the Zarude. They Moonblast my Rillaboom slot. Okay. Don't take too much damage, thankfully. I need to get rid of Whimsicott, but I have no idea. Okay, I'm assuming they don't have Entity then, because if they had Entity, they might have went for the Heat Crash immediately. I'm also debating if they're Terra Fire, because I think if they Terra Fire, they would have went for it, but maybe they're really playing scared of Groudon, which is what I was hoping for, but like, Oh, like they had opportunities to go for the heat crash earlier, but I'm just gonna heat crash the Whimsicott, and I'm gonna swap out in case this is a fairy move into Zarude. So I'm just gonna go Rillaboom, which is super specially defensive, and just heat crash the Whimsicott. They go for Encore into my Dark type. I guess they don't know. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't know much about Zarude either. Like, I'll give them that credit, actually. They go for the Moongeist Beam and the Groudon, which does take a lot of damage, but I should be fine. Heat Crash comes out. Are you Covert Cloak or Sash? You're not Sash, so you're probably Covert Cloak then. Okay. Whimsicott goes down. That means no more Trick Room up for the remainder of the game, which is nice. Groudon going to come back in. I don't know. Do you have Entity? I feel like you don't have Entity at this rate. Last turn, Tailwind. I think my best play is just to go out in a Zarude. Or I could go Chiyu. Chiyu also works offensively. But I think Zarude and Fake Out is fine here. Into the Groudon. To deny like a Heat Crash coming out. Because Lunala can't pick up a knockout onto any of my Pokemon by itself unless it goes for like a Moonblast into Groudon with Terra Fairy, making it a hard read. But I think I just go for Fake Out and swap. I don't think they have Entity at this rate because they have been playing not like there's an Entity. I wonder if they have Sliverwing back because it's actually decent against my team. They protect Groudon again. Okay. They can only Terra one of these mons, which is the massive part. They go for Meteor Beam into... I don't think this knocked out Groudon, so this is in Arilla? Okay, it is in Arilla. Who tanks it up because it's super specially defensive. I could go for Grassy Glide knockoff. I have a few different plays. It depends on like their set. I think my best play here is probably to go for the Groudon slot with a double up with Grassy Glides. Because I could Grassy Glide knock off the Lunala and they would be in a lot of trouble. So just don't know if they would commit to Terrifier now. But I think I'm willing to risk it, especially if Lunala protects. This would be really great. So I think I am going to go for a double Grassy Glide. I don't think I knock out the Groudon, but I'll do a good amount of damage. We are going to see a Terra finally come out for my opponent. It's going to be Groudon. Okay. So I got this play wrong. I could have went for Grassy Glide knockoff of Lunala, but they most likely protect if you're going to make this play right. Oh. Get a Grassy Glide knocked off the Lunala. Unfortunate. They are weak to Precipice Blades. Maybe they're Wide Guard? Moongeist Beam +1. I don't think this knocks out at least. Yeah, it doesn't. Fire Punch. Huh? At least they're targeting the Rillaboom. Which is better for me. Okay. That actually lucks out, because if I did anything else, it would have been better. Sun fades, which is good, actually, because maybe Fire Punch doesn't knock out Zarude. Grassy Terrain disappears from the field as well. I can go on a Chiyu. I think I survive all hits if I just Terra Ghost Snarl and click Knockoff into the Lunala. I need to get rid of a wide potential Wide Guard user. I could also double up the Groudon, which is fair as well. Maybe doubling up the Groudon is better. I like doubling up the Groudon because Lunala I don't think at this point is a fairy move. So I think I'm going to double up the Groudon. It also covers if they do decide, hey, I'm going to be a... yeah, if they go for Wide Guard, which is beautiful. So Dark Pulse and the knockoff should KO since this shouldn't be... Well, this is in the Assault Vest. We saw it protect multiple times throughout the game. In the I am faster with Zarude. There was a chance I was slower, but that means I think Groudon would have gone down to Dark Pulse because it would have been more frail. A Groudon eliminated is nice, so got that turn right at least after the really poor turn from before. Get rid of the Clear Amulet, nice. And then let's see what the last mon is. Is that Meowscarada? No, Sliverwing. Okay. It does have access to First Impression. Can I afford to protect? Probably not. I don't need Zarude anymore. I think my best play is just to double up the Lunala. Go for Terra Ghost, Dark Pulse into the Lunala with knockoff. Because I think if they're good, if they need a Mon, it's gotta be, or if they're gonna target a Mon with first impression, I feel like it has to be the Chi-Yu. With this Terra Ghost, I'll be able to resist first impression in case this is like some choice band Sliverwing that could knock out. And then Dark Pulse knockoff should KO the Lunala. Okay, they first impression my Zarude, so maybe I might have just droned this game if Dark Pulse doesn't KO the Lunala. Because I think they probably would have Moongeist beamed. Okay, Dark Pulse. I don't KO. Oh, they Meteor Beam again. Oh, then I think I guarantee win then. Let me just say, a lot of these didn't go my way. A lot of these reads did not go my way, but I was somehow able to manage. I think it's just because I got a bit lucky with what they decide to click afterward. But you know what, we take it. These are sometimes games that it's like hard to predict. It's like when you look at my opponent's team, I'm like, what text am I supposed to reveal here? We go for Heat Crash always, and we go for Dark Pulse. I guess we could still lose to Sliverwing unironically, depending on the move pool and how fast it is. Are you faster than my Groudon? Probably not. My Groudon's pretty fast. Yeah, Heat Crash should do some decent damage. Oh, it actually just Okos. I wasn't sure Sliverwing was heavy enough to where Heat Crash wasn't doing too much, but it's a Groudon. Okay. Like, the only way it went really bad was that they Moongeist beamed, but thankfully they did not click the Moongeist beam. Let me just say, I wasn't sure what they were trying to build up towards, because I was like, okay, I really thought at that point that they might Terra the Lunala. They Terra the Groudon instead, because they had opportunities to Terra the Groudon. They got me at the right timings. It just, luckily they doubled up the Rillaboom, which was the important part. I was able to get the double knockout on the Groudon. Sliverwing unironically put on pressure just because of that first impression, but luckily, and I mean very luckily, that they clicked Meteor Beam instead of Moongeist. All right, we have Kyogre, Calyx, Ice Rider, Incineroar, Rillaboom, Amoonguss, and Raging Bolt. This is going to be a very, very tough one. Very tough one. All right. So, what am I leading here? I don't think I bring Raging Bolt. Did I bring Flutter? Flutter's okay, but it's not like incredible. I definitely want to bring Zarude. I think I always lead Zarude. Zarude plus... I'm trying to think, because I kind of want a big nuke with Raging Bolt because the Dracos hit hard, especially into the Incin. But I don't really like having so many Mons weak to Cali Ice. Like, I think Zarude, maybe Zarude Rilla is probably an okay lead. It's not the best combination, but it should work. Instant Cali Ice Ogre is just difficult. I think I'm just gonna do Zarude with Groudon Rilla in the back. This is gonna be a bit of a weird one. It's just dealing with Instant Cali Ice and Kyogre at the same time, because if it's a Cali Ice team, I could lead Groudon if it isn't a Kyogre, but because it's Kyogre, I'm forced to keep Groudon in the back, because I could like Terra Fire, Precipice Blades if I led Groudon, right? I can't really do that in this situation. So yeah, Zarude probably has enough natural bulk to live attacks here, so I could probably attempt a Sword Stance. But yeah, this is not a fantastic situation. I always attempt to Sword Stance, I think, and I just go for an Overheat attempt into the Cali Ice. Or maybe I Dark Pulse because they flinch might happen. And they also like might Terrasilize the Cali Ice as well. Yeah. If I got the Chi-Yu, so disrespecting the Terra Ghost option, okay. I set up the Sword Stance with Zarude. If they attack with Cali Ice, might not be terrible, but we'll see. They do go for Glacial Lance immediately. Does Zarude live? It does actually. Okay, that's actually a pretty big survival. Your optimal play though with Kali Ice is to Terra. Yeah, this is still not a great position. It should protect, but what do I do with Chi? The thing is, the instant's just so hard to play around right now. I think I attempt to overheat even if they decide to protect. I think that's my best option. And because even if I sack here, I think getting Ground Ink, Threatening Precipice Blades plus Grassy Glider knockoff is still the better play. Like, even if they protect, if they knock out the Chi, it's still a pretty ideal situation, I think. But they might Parting Shot out into another threat. Let's see. No, they blitz. Okay, that works out. Can I just overheat knockoff? I think I can. Overheat knockoff pretty much gets every mon on their team. I just don't know if the Rocky Helmet instant or if the Rocky Helmet's Moongus. Well, if it's a Rocky Helmet and Moongus, then I get overheat off and then a attack. So yeah, I'm gonna go for overheat knock into Calyx, get my KO, and then see if I can advance the board state. I wish I Terra Poisoned earlier, but I wasn't sure if I needed Terra Fire with the Groudon just for the Kali Ice between Glacial Lance. We do see Terra, so I don't know if Kali Ice lives this. Don't they run Grass Terra? Or Water Terra on Kyogre? Oh, I was thinking it'd be Grass Terra. Oh, I'm nowhere doing enough. Okay, I think this is cooked. I think this is cooked. Can I win? Maybe. Depends on the set. It can't tear the Kyogre anymore, I suppose. So I do have, I guess like there is potential for me to win, but it's not looking too great because I lost control of the weather now. But let's see. This is kind of a problem. I didn't think my Kali Ice Kyogre matchup was that great, but not much here I could do. I think I'm going to go for Woodhammer plus Precipice Blades always into the instant so I can ensure to knock out into the instant slot. Because I don't think the Kali Ice slot is going to retreat. Yeah, they protect here, which makes sense. I'm going to Precipice Blades Woodhammer the instant slot and hope for the double up to KO here. Yep. Okay, perfect. So instant goes down. They can't intimidate me, which is kind of big in this matchup. I think I might have to just gamble on my Groudon outspeeding the Kyogre. I think like that's the only hope I have at this point. This Kyogre should come in. I am Terra Water Rillaboom though. They go out into their own Rillaboom, which is surprising because I don't know what that accomplishes. Did I Terra Fire the Groudon here? I think I always Terra Fire and just click Precipice Blades or High Horsepower? I think we just go for Blades because I need the extra damage anyway into the Rillaboom. I think a lot of this game is just going to come down to some Kyogre reads. Because they might be attempting to go for like Woodhammer and Glacial. Because they might think, okay, I'm going to target the Kali Ice because Fake Out's obvious. And then Kali Ice can maybe do something. But yeah, I'm just going to make sure the Kali Ice can never get an attack off. They Fake Out my Rilla, so I do have to hit the Blades here specifically into the Kali Ice. I did have to hit a move anyway. Precipice Blades does knock out the Kali Ice and gets to chip into Rillaboom, which is important. We get a crit on Kali Ice. I don't think it matters. Crit on Rillaboom could matter in the end game. I'm saying could. Okay. Their Rillaboom's faster than mine. Kyogre is the last. All right. So we might have a chance here. We might have a chance. Because they can't Terra the Kyogre slot anymore. I think I go for Woodhammer. How many turns of Grassy? 3. I think this turn I could always protect the Groudon and Woodhammer because I'm pretty sure they can't knock out the Rillaboom with a double up unless they're like Specs or something. You go for Opals. Okay, Opals double up won't KO me, and then I should be able to get a endgame of Groudon versus Rillaboom. Okay, that was no damage. What? U-turn did a bit more than I thought, but like, okay, I did live most double ups. That wasn't like Ice Beam. I would have lived Water Spout, and I wasn't sure if they were able to because I could also go for Grassy Glide Precipice Blades there, but I didn't think I had to risk it immediately because I didn't know what kind of Kyogre set there was. Because sometimes on the Cali Ice teams that don't have any speed control with Cali Ice Kyogre, they might run like Iron Ball on ladder. So that's why I went for the Woodhammer anyway, because maybe they had like a lot of bulk to be able to survive the combo. But now I think I should win since it's high horsepower Rilla. Because if it's high horsepower or U-turn Rilla, because if it's U-turn Rilla, they don't run high horsepower. The Heat Crash, a lot of damage. And it's Woodhammer. Okay, yeah, they definitely do not have any firepower against the Groudon. So, despite a horrendous start, we are able to win here. I didn't think it was Terra Water Cali Ice because normally on these teams, they don't run Terra Water Cali Ice. And I kind of showed why, right? Because Rillaboom was able to clean up. Usually, I feel like they're Terra Grass to play around Amoonguss because Amoonguss is really annoying to deal with if you aren't Terra Grass Cali Ice, I feel like. Because, like, look at the damage output against Amoonguss. Maybe if it's Taunt Incin, it could have been Taunt Incin because we didn't see knockoff, but yeah. Because it was not a great start, I will say. It was not a great start. Granted, I think if they got Trick Room up, it would have probably been a bit scarier, but across the board, luckily, I was just able to get a lot of pressure with just fast Mons. And that's kind of the thing about this team, where a lot of their stuff is just slower than my side. So the fact that I was able to get heavy damage across, even though I had 2 weakened Pokemon, they didn't have like a great, like Rillaboom wasn't like super threatening damage to me as long as I had the Terra Fire option available. So I was actually still able to win because Precipice Blaze plus Woodhammer was just like really hard for them to swap in. I guess if they maybe went Rillaboom for the Incin and saved the Incin, I think it would have been better. But granted, it's only intimidating my Rilla. It's not intimidating my Groudon, and the Rilla is still always, or the Incin's always threatened later. But they could have like cycled for Fake Out, getting the damage into the Rillaboom to try to clean up a Kyogre. But yeah, like unfortunately, I did get the Terra completely wrong on their side. All right, we have Tornadus, Miraidon, Kyogre, Incineroar, Iron Hands, and Urshifu. Oh, Torn is not a fun one for this team. Torn is not a fun one for this team. I'm leaving Chi behind for sure. I guess the question is, am I bringing Fluttermane? Because Fluttermane's not bad in this matchup. A little bit hard to say. I think I always bring Raging Bolt, though. Raging Bolt's really good here. I think Raging Bolt Rilla is probably like the best combo because they don't have like the immediate way to pressure both Raging Bolt and Rillaboom on this team. In the back, probably have Zarude and Groudon back because I like double Grassy Glide against their team. And the Groudon's, of course, just really good into the Miraidon and, of course, Weather Control for the Kyogre. So we'll see. I do like Raging Bolt here. Raging Bolt is fantastic. I got to think about like, okay, what am I going to do damage-wise to them? Are they Cloak Miraidon? It shouldn't be. I think this is a team that got like top 16 at one of the Reg I regionals. We see an interesting Kyogre lead, which is surprising because they don't normally lead Kyogre with this, but sure. Is this Protect? Let's see. I kind of just want to Thunderbolt the Torn and just U-turn out the Kyogre because I don't know if they're Terra Grass. I could just Fake Out the Kyogre as well. Fake Out the Kyogre isn't too bad. I don't really want to give them a free switch though. But I guess I don't mind U-turning. I U-turn the Kyogre. Let's see. They Protect, which is fine. The Torn didn't protect, so it's probably either going for Bleak Wind or Tailwind immediately. They go for Bleak Wind immediately, which is fine. I have Spadef Rillaboom, and as you can see, my Rillaboom really tanks the attacks well. Any speed drops? No speed drops. Thunderbolt going to come out on a Torn, and KO's the Torn. So no Tailwind up for their side is fantastic. Okay, nice. As we U-turn into the Kyogre. Okay. The problem is Miraidon probably comes in, but we'll deal with it as we go. Because I don't have a great switch in. If I had Flutter, I could switch in well. We are going to see Miraidon come in. Now, here's the interesting part. The Kyogre is drafted by Thunderclap with Electric Terrain up, so I'm kind of curious how they're going to play this. They could tear the Kyogre, but I'm kind of curious if they're going to focus down the Raging Bolt or if they're going to focus down the Rillaboom. I think my play here is just to always protect Raging Bolt to preserve it and then just try to U-turn out. And if Rillaboom goes down, it's unfortunate, but I should still have a decent shot of winning with Groudon in. So I think I'm just going to U-turn out the Kyogre and protect. Because I don't know if they're going to Dazzling Gleam, if they're going to Draco. No Terra is insane to me. Okay. They drop a Draco into what was the Raging Bolt slot. And Ice Beam my Rilla. Okay. Nowhere near enough. No Freeze, thankfully. U-turn going to come out into the Kyogre. Weakens the power of Water Spout. And now we get in Groudon. I could also go Zarude here as well. I kind of like Groudon more. So here, it's a tricky turn because the Draco Meteor is still threatening. It actually Okos my Groudon. I could go Rillaboom and Precipice Blaze, or I could go Rillaboom for the Groudon slot and Thunderclap the Kyogre. But you want to imagine Kyogre probably wants to switch out for multiple reasons. One is that Thunderclap threat, and the second one is to regain control of the weather. But they don't exactly have a good Precipice Blade switch in since they lost a Torn, and that's why I want to target the Torn early. But this is still not an easy spot, but I think the best play is to go out into Rillaboom and just throw off of Precipice Blades, because Miraidon should go down to Precipice Blades, if not take a bunch of damage. If they Fairy Terra, they're in range of Thunderclap from my Raging Bolt. So I think this is the best play regardless. We do see the Kyogre retreat, which is good. Incin? Urshifu. Okay, that makes sense too. We haven't seen a Terra yet. So is it going to be Terra Fairy Miraidon coming out, or is it going to be something else? Rillaboom in. No Terra. So they go for Draco Meteor. They're now -2 special attack with their Miraidon. And if I hit Precipice Blades, let's just say I'm in a very, very, very good spot. Okay, we hit both blades. Fantastic. We actually missed a KO on Miraidon, which is actually probably more ideal now that I think about it. Yeah, because I can go Zarude here. Do I want to go Zarude or do I want to go Raging Bolt? I think Zarude's the play. Because they might not expect Grassy Glide coming out from the Zarude. So I'm just going to go for a Grassy Glide into the Ursh. And I think we go Raging Bolt. They do retreat the Miraidon. That makes sense to me. This is probably Kyogre. The only way I think this goes bad is that they Terra and they go for U-turn into the Zarude. But again, I don't know if they know about my Grassy Glide tech that I have on the Zarude. We bring out Raging Bolt. They do Terra. I don't remember if they run Terra Water. They run Terra Grass. Okay, it's Terra Water. That helps a lot. The problem if I went Raging Bolt is if they had Aqua Jet, it was actually a little bit scary if they went for Scarf Aqua Jet. The Grassy Glide going to come out with Metal Plate, easily takes out the Ursh, and now they use their defensive terrestrialization, so I'm in a really good spot. Thunderclap KOs the Miraidon at this range, and all I have to do is just go Groudon, set up the Sun. I have Electric Terrain plus the Sun, and Miraidon's just too low, so Thunderclap will KO, and then I should have the game sealed, so very nice. Whew, okay. Because if I went Raging Bolt, they might have been inclined to go for Aqua Jet, and then there might have been some weird situations that could have happened. I guess maybe going out into Raging Bolt might have been better, but there were like mind games between like who switches out, and then Miraidon throwing off a Draco Meteor. So I could Thunderclap into Miraidon, but my Miraidon might switch. I just felt like the Zarude was more likely to like kind of catch them off guard than the Raging Bolt was immediately. We go Groudon here always to set up the Sun, and we Thunderclap the Miraidon slot. Battle going to be forfeit because they kind of realize that this game is over, and super nice. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Ooh, nice. Nice. They gave me a great knockout into the torn immediately, and thankfully like I was able to protect the Raging Bolt, which was huge, and not take the damage and still save Grassy Terrain. If I went down with Rillaboom on the U-turn play, it might have been awkward turn 2, but granted, it's kind of like I'm forced to take a trade, and I kind of have to get it right there. If they target down the Rillaboom slot, I have to attack with Raging Bolt, so it's kind of a call there, but it wasn't like I'm in a losing situation if that happens. I'm in a down situation, but I'm not in a losing situation. Whereas if I attack with Raging Bolt and I lose it, I think I am in a losing situation because I don't think it's easy to deal with the Urshifu back. All right, to get into Master Ball, we have to fight a Master Ball player. Ogerpon Teal Mask, which is no item Ogerpon, Rillaboom Incineroar, Fluttermane, Miraidon, and Yvesangelist. They only have one restricted. Okay. I mean, to be fair, I also only have one restricted. Should be an interesting one then. How do I want to perform against this? I think Fluttermane's really good. Raging Bolt's decent, but it's not like incredible. I like Fluttermane a lot. Fluttermane's really strong here. I think Fluttermane Groudon might be my lead here. Also, it's interesting that they have double terrain here as well. I think Fluttermane Groudon makes the most sense to me with a Zarude Rillaboom back. I do like that. I don't really, even though Chiyu Heat Wave does a ton of damage, I don't think it's really worth it because of the fact that they have an Incin, and I don't really like I don't like powering up the Miraidon. Like, I think I want switches to Miraidon, which is why I'm bringing both my grass types, and also like double Grassy Glide. I think in a Fluttermane could be really good at handling it. Yvesangelist Incin's an interesting lead. Okay. Versus Fluttermane Groudon. I don't mind Groudon taking chip because I could always try to pin the Miraidon in a future turn. So I think here what I would probably want to do is you want to expect the Yvesangelist to probably go for a Terra here to avoid the Moonblast. I kind of just want to go for an Icy Wind because I actually... Is Icy Wind to play here? Yes, it is. Wait. It's not Booster Energy, was it? Did I just not see the boost energy activate? Oh, I should have paid attention more. I don't think it did. Because it was like, I was like, okay, if it's booster energy, I can Icy Wind and get a permanent speed drop into the Jugulus. But I guess now I'm just going to go for a Moonblast, and I'm going to go for Precipice Blades instead. Actually, I think High Horsepower is like slightly stronger. I'm going to go for High Horsepower. Because they might protect, yes. They could have Terra'd, but I also could go for High Horsepower, which is more accurate. They go for Fake Out Protect, which is an interesting play because that doesn't really get you much momentum here. Okay. I guess now I'm going to go for Moonblast plus Precipice Blades because, again, it covers a Terra, it covers a like a lot or switches as well. Even if they go into a Grass type, I still do a decent chip here. They should probably switch out the Jugulus if they have like Rillaboom with Assault Vest and go for a Flare Blitz to put me in Grassy Glide range. That's what I would probably do if I was them. But I'm okay with that because I still get huge amounts of damage into both Incin and the Switch. And if they stay with Jugulus, that's a Pokemon I need to try and chip for my grass types as we see the swap into Ogerpon for the Ensign. Is this a double? It wasn't a double swap. It is a Terra though. Okay. What Terra are you? Terrify. Okay, they're getting hit by blades. So did they get tailwind up is a good question. As we get a Moonblast. That's actually some still good damage. Meteor Beam. Okay, so it wasn't power like I expected. Special attack boost. Is this in the Flutter? Or did they expect Terrifier Groudon? It is in a Flutter. Brings me down to Sash. Actually, nowhere near Sash because, okay. Because Flutter has good speed def. Goodbye. They're Terra on Jugulus. Interesting. So they can't Terra out of my Moonblast with my Flutter Mates. I could go for Terra Fairy Moonblast into Miraidon. Granted, it could be a Assault Vest. This is probably where I wish I had Chi-Yu, because if I had Chi-Yu, the game is sealed, because I probably just click I just click Terra Fairy Moonblast here. Ensign's coming in, okay. I have no idea if they're Grassy Glide Ogerpon, so I don't think it's ever worth risking. I don't want to give them priority at all. Do I outspeed Ogerpon after Icy? I do. So it might be my best interest to still Icy Wind and go for a Heat Crash. Actually, it might. Actually, no. I think it's better to double protect. I was like debating on, okay, do they have a setup move here? But I think my best place to double protect, because even if it's Swords Dance Ogerpon, I can try to punish it the next turn. Oh, this is fine. For Fake Out into Groudon and Ivy Cudgel. Hornleech, okay. Into Flutter. Interesting to see Hornleech there. I make my play just to Icy and just go for Blades. I don't think there's like 100% win con here, because I don't know Terra Fairy Moonblast would knock out the Ogerpon at that range, so I don't think that's worth a risk. Yeah, I think I just Terra Fire here and just draw for Precipice Blades, because Icy Wind and the Precipice Blades should get the Ogerpon, I imagine. Maybe it doesn't. But I need damage on instant anyway. Like, I need to ensure I get the damage to the instant. If I don't get the damage to instant, it's a pretty bad situation. So I think I have to go for this play no matter what. Like, I need damage on both, because unironically, both these mons could be threatening depending on their movesets. Especially the Ogerpon if it has U-turn. Icy Wind, just hit the Ogerpon. Okay, that's fine. Although the extra damage on instant could matter. Blades is going to be close. I know I give a Defiant boost to the Ogerpon, but that's fine this turn because it shouldn't be going for a knockout. Okay, that's a bad Blades miss into the instant. I would have liked to hit on instant, but I do KO the Ogerpon at least. So that's a good knockout regardless. Okay. With Ogerpon eliminated, that's putting me a decent chance here. They go for Flare Blitz. That's cool. Okay. I think now I have a very good situation to win the game, because if the last mon is Miraidon, I should just be able to click Fake Out plus a Precipice Blades, and I should be in a good spot to clean up the game. Because they can't Terra, and if they're Cover Cloak Miraidon, they don't have the firepower to knock out my Groudon with a Draco, because it doesn't have the Hadron Engine boost anymore. Okay. It definitely does not have the power. All right. Interesting team. We'll Fake Out. We'll click Precipice Blades. We'll just do Groudon stuff. We eventually have to hit moves anyway. The Miraidon might up Protect. That's fine. Hit a Blades. If this is Frail Instant, it should go down to Precipice Blades. Although my Groudon's always able to outspeed Instant, even if they're Jolly Max. And if they go for Flare Blitz, they still go down to a Precipice Blades after the recoil. Okay, Groudon. Groudon has to make my life difficult towards this. Okay, makes sense. I don't KO the instant, but this is probably Flare Blitz. Yep, that's fine. Can they beat my Zarude at this point? I actually don't know if they can beat my Zarude. Because if it's Electric Seed, I have no idea if they're like Dazzling Gleam last move or what. Sunlight fades, which is fine. I guess if they have Discharge, it matters because I don't have Leaf Guard. Restless Blades, Okos to Miraidon. Or I think it would probably Oko Miraidon. I think High Horsepower would miss. I know there's a bit more accuracy. I'm trying to figure out if it's better. I think just hit a move, right? Like at this point, like just hit a move. It's just like my mindset regardless. Go for Dazzling Gleam. Yeah, Zarude eats it up. Groudon doesn't take any damage. And let's see. I'm going to Swords Dance here because it punished any protects on the Miraidon. Granted, I don't know if they would protect, but I do land a Blades to see their KOs or puts in range of Grassy Glide from the Zarude, so Zarude cleans up. Okay, perfect. Now we go for a High Horsepower. Because I don't know if Heat Crash would even KO there without the Sun Boost. Since, not heavy. But Grassy Glide, Zarude will take the final KO. And we get to Masterball Tier with Zarude. What a funny mythical, man. What a funny mythical. I still don't know, like, if it's ability activated at all in this. It had decent bulk, as we saw in, like, the match where we were able to survive the Glacial Lands from the Cali Ice. But this mod is just so funny. Like, in Gen 9 alone, we got so many good grass dark types that, like... that are probably more worth it than Zarude, but hey, at least we found a set that like Zarude could actually put in somewhat work, I suppose, in Regulation J. Granted, like that last one was definitely an interesting one to say the least, but you know what, we'll take our wins there, and you know, we will make it to Masterball Tier. Not too shabby, not too shabby. A 4-1 record with this team. Oh, pretty solid. Like, granted, it did have like quite a few weaknesses, or 5-1 actually, 5-1. But yeah, obviously Torn is not a great matchup. Cali Ice Kyogre Instant isn't great, and being able to hit the Incineroars without Groudon is very, very tough. But granted, oh fun. I think there's probably like a few different sets you could definitely run with Zarude. I want to try Grassy Glide because it allowed Zarude to be a sweeper, where I don't think it's a great support Pokemon. Like, I just don't think support Pokemon works with Sun teams, like, at all. Like, Bonnet is just better as a support mon in general. And yeah, we were able to put in work with Zarude, so. And that is Zarude. We did make it to Master Ball Tier. Was Zarude the most amazing Pokemon? No, but at least we were able to make it work. Again, I think this Pokemon, with its really poor defensive typing, isn't great. But it's probably the most viable in a mythical format if it was, because Gen 9 does allow you to Terastallize to get rid of its really bad defensive typing. So at least there was that. I don't think support Zarude is really that great in a powerful mythical format. And I really wish it did get a better toolkit. Like, if it had Rillaboom's toolkit, it would have been really good, probably. Like Fake Out support and a few others. Like, at least it would be like way more viable than it currently is. But... yeah, I think this Pokemon just struggles when there are better grass dark types like Meowscarada and Brute Bonnet. So yeah, I do think it struggles, but we were able to make it work. At least let me know in the comments down below how you would probably design Zarude. I would at least give it a better ability. I don't think Leaf Guard's that great. So let me know in the comments down below. But of course, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like down below and leave a comment down below. It really does help me out. Use the new hype feature if you do enjoy the videos and want to support. Otherwise, you could check out the rest of my content and a bunch of other stuff down below in the description. But as always, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.